Hello out there, this is Wake Angel 2001 reviewing a figure that I have coveted for quite some time. Ever since I saw his Build-A-Figure parts in a wave of DC Multiverse figures when Toys R Us was still a thing, I had been wanting him. But seeing as how he's a Build-A-Figure that required you to buy 6 other figures at retailing at $20 a piece, it was a bit prohibitively expensive for me at the time. But after coming out of Big Apple Comic Con, I actually splurged and got myself the King Shark Build-A-Figure. Now, if you're a child of the 90s like me, you probably remember most of the imitation Ninja Turtle shows, including Street Sharks, which was Jawsome, and was the first thing I thought about on that episode of the live-action Flash series where King Shark was introduced. It was just so awesome. And as of the time of this recording, the most recent episode heavily featured King Shark as he did epic battle with Gorilla Grodd, which, I gotta say, that was just one of the coolest episodes I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure it drained most of the CGI budget of the season. Probably why this season has had so many hiatuses now that I think about it. Anyway, let's take a look at the King Shark figure, who is actually so tall that it's hard to get the entire thing in frame. So let's zoom in and take it in part and parcel. He has a very nice skin texture with scratches and scars all over his face, in addition to a very well sculpted gum line with a sculpted and painted tongue and several rows of vicious looking teeth. The gill flaps are also like textured, and they have personality to them. They're not just lines on the sides of his head. Even up here in his dorsal fin, you can see where it looks like it's ragged, like he's been in a lot of fights. Moving down the figure, it's all the same story. You have excellent musculature, veins, scarring. Even the tatters in his jeans are beautifully sculpted in with like, you can see like where there's a hole and a little flap of material coming off the hole, as well as down here with where the tatters go around his calves. Very beautiful sculpt design, and I kind of find it hilarious how King Shark is some kind of 10 to 15 foot tall shark behemoth that spends most of his time in the water, yet he's still wearing a pair of blue jeans. They must have been a super baggy fit when he was human. And even down to his feet, you have painted in toenails, and you can even see webbing between his toes, and it's present on his fingers as well. Webbing to improve his swimming ability, of course. So yeah, everything about this King Shark figure is just really great looking. So yeah. So he's got good size, and he's got a really good sculpt and paint. Articulation above the waist is meh. Below the waist is actually quite good. There's no meaningful head articulation, but the jaw does open and close, as you've seen. He has good... Whoop. He's a Build-A-Figure, so he can dismantle. You don't want to push the shoulders too far past, because then you just start to... wedge it out. I will say, there's actually something to the Build-A-Figure being able to be dismantled. I know my Stealth figure, once assembled, couldn't be dismantled without risk of breaking anything, so, this is like in case if you want to take them back apart for storage or selling on eBay or whatever. So he actually has pretty good range in his shoulders, a very nice bicep swivel. The problem is he only has single jointed elbows, and they only get about 45 degrees of bend, and that's true for both of them. I feel like they could have made some cuts to give us a slightly deeper elbow bend, but I think those gigantic cantaloupe biceps probably required a bit more sculpt. But I think they could have cut into this part of the arm, giving us a little bit more range, because that's pretty pitiful for an elbow bend. Though there is wrist swivel, but only swivel, there's no hinge. He has a good hinge in his waist. You can get some arch for swimming poses, although not too much crunch. He does have a waist swivel, so, you know, he can turn around at the waist. Hips are like any standard DC figure, except they can go back as far as they go forward. That's really cool. And, of course, they have that really big pin disc thing that allows them to go outward. Too bad he has no ankle rockers to take advantage of that, but his feet are long enough that he can still fake it till he makes it. So he's still standing. There is a thigh swivel. The knees are good. They get a solid 90-degree bend. And he has hinges at the ankles. Like I said, no rockers, but still hinges. So a bit of a shortcoming with the head and the elbows, but aside from that, he still looks really cool, and if you're creative enough, you can get some very frightening stances with him. For comparison to another figure that he would blend in perfectly with, here is the live-action Flash figure, and as you can see, that open hand that he has is pretty much perfect for just outright holding the smaller figures. That's really cool. I love how they sculpted his left hand to actually be perfect for gripping another character around the waist. That's a nice touch. That's a good way you might want to display the figure. And let's get, of course, I want to stand King. I dropped my flash. I want to get my King Shark figure standing up straight so that you can appreciate the true height of the thing. Get it back as far as possible. So, for point of comparison, here's a standard 6-inch Flash figure. And as you can see, he barely comes up to King Shark's waist. I only have one other DCU Build-A-Figure, and that's Stell, who is pretty much exactly the same height. And I'd also like to note that Stell does have better articulation than King Shark, despite being an older figure. But I chalk up his superior articulation to two things. First of all, being that he's a robot, you don't have to worry about sculpting joints in, because sculpted-in joints on robots are part of the aesthetic. And secondly, he has a slimmer physique, so he doesn't have gigantic arm muscles that limit his elbow bend. Aside from that, they're pretty comparable. So there is one more thing about King Shark, and that is there was a later 7th figure release in the wave, which was an alternate version of Robin, and they included with that Robin figure an alternate head featuring this really cool hammerhead motif. So the hammerhead has every bit the same quality of sculpting and paintwork, that slate gray paint, the scarring, the detail sculpt in the gills, several rows of teeth with, I think, an even better looking tongue in this one. And of course, he's a hammerhead shark, so his eyes are on the sides. So, swapping the head out is as simple as plucking off the old head, and then and then not being a Butterfingers as you put the new head on in its place. And now you have Hammerhead King Shark. That kind of looks like something out of Pacific Rim. So yeah, from certain angles, this actually looks pretty darn badass. Like, I'm just playing around with the figure at this point, but let's get a cool money shot pose. Apologies for the jump cut, had to address the phone, but yeah, check that out. I mean, it's kind of hard to check out because he's so huge. I'll probably just take a picture of Hammerhead of the Hammerhead mode just for the thumbnail of this video. But yeah, that's a really cool alternate look. I like how you can just pull the head off and then stick another head on if you want to have a completely different kind of King Shark. And although, like, it's really difficult to get all the pieces to make this guy, and it's really expensive if you try to find him on eBay. I mean, like, there's some people that sell like the individual arms for like maybe $6, but like I found that people want to sell the torso and head pieces for like $60 by themselves. So King Shark is an awesome figure, but he's also a very expensive and difficult to get figure. If you actually get lucky enough to find one for what you deem to be a reasonable price, I would recommend it. He's totally worth it because he's just that cool. Although the Hammerhead Shark alternate head is awesome, but you know, there's just something about like the old school Great White. It has that very Jaws-esque appeal. Like that's what you think of when you think of a big, massive king shark man. And just because I'm me, I have to take a quick little aside of King Shark meeting everybody's favorite Shark Prince. So, yes, for whatever amusement this gleans from you, here is a cameo for my Prince Poseidon custom with this King Shark figure review. I hope you got a few yucks out of that.